All right, before we jump into today's episode, I want to tell you about something I've been pouring my heart into lately. SSS Tradco isn't just apparel, it's not just gear, it's a mindset. It's about doing things the hard way, the intentional way, the traditional way. We launched our exclusive Legacy Box. The first 50 orders are getting a special early supporter edition. This is for ones who believe in building something that lasts, for the ones who know legacy isn't given, it's earned. If you've been listening, supporting, growing with me, this is your chance to be a part of the foundation. Go to sstradco.com and grab your legacy box now. And use code RAISETRADITIONAL for 10% off your order. The legacy starts here. Hey everyone, welcome to Raised Traditional. I'm your host, Madison Childers, and I'm so excited that you're here with me today. This podcast is all about embracing and celebrating traditional lifestyle. We'll be diving into topics like hunting, archery, and simple ingredient cooking, all while sharing tips on raising kids to love the wilderness as much as we do. I can't wait to share these stories with you. Let's get started. All right. So lately, I have been thinking a lot about something that I care so deeply about, and that's cooking from scratch. Now, this comes at a time that I am getting back from vacation, and so I do apologize for not posting last Monday, but do know I was enjoying some much needed downtime and quality time with my family. But being on vacation means you're not cooking the meals like you do at home, right? You're eating out, and trust me, we enjoyed some fantastic food, but it really made me realize how much I love cooking from scratch. Feeding my family real food, right? Being intentional about what we eat, slowing down enough to actually prepare meals. And if you've been following along, that you know that is something recently that I've been working really hard on is slowing down in these moments. And so I like to give myself some grace here though, right? Because yes, I want to slow down and prepare the meals, but at the same time, I am a working mom. And some days those just don't go together. Because the version of a traditional living that we see online, gosh, it looks beautiful, right? Homemade bread, slow mornings, everything made from scratch. And I love that. But the reality for a lot of us, it is busy schedules, work, kids, commitments, and trying to do it all can start to feel very overwhelming. There are days that I want to cook a full meal from scratch. And instead of standing in my kitchen at the end of the day thinking, what can I make the fastest? And then I feel guilty about it. Like I'm not doing enough, as if I forget everything else I'm doing in that moment. Like I'm not living up to the type of mom that I want to be. I have this image in my head of what I want to see for myself as a mom, somebody who's intentional, who shows up, who's there. Same thing as a wife. People used to laugh because I would make my husband's lunches and he worked graveyard. So I would typically make them the night before because, well, no, I would typically make them when I would get home from work because he would leave that night. And so it was kind of nice to do as kind of this, I guess, idea of while I'm sleeping, he's getting something meaningful from me. And I'm still cooking him something important. I wanted to be this intentional, traditional type wife. But I've had to really check myself on this because sometimes, I'm going to be honest, dinner looks like fast food. Tonight was an exact example of that. We left jujitsu after a full day of work. We rushed to jujitsu, and before I know it, it's 6:15. I still have to get home, record a podcast, and get it edited and scheduled and posted, all while trying to be an intentional mom and sit down and have dinner with my son, make sure that he takes a good bath, gets to bed on time, we do our devotionals, and we have our nightly cuddles. So sometimes dinner looks like fast food. Sometimes it looks like cereal. And that used to bother me more than it should have. I've recently realized though, one meal does not define the kind of mother that I am. One busy night does not undo all the intentional choices I make. And honestly, there are seasons where choosing convenience is what allows everything else to stay steady. So I've been learning to let go of all this all or nothing mindset. I don't have to make everything from scratch. To be intentional, I don't have to do it perfectly to be doing it well. So here's what it looks like for me lately. I keep things very simple, rotating meals that I know that work, planning ahead when I can, and giving myself permission to not overcomplicate it. Because the goal isn't perfection, the goal is to nourish my family with wholeheartedly clean food. So, some of my favorite things that I have found for meals to make at home are honestly some of the simplest ones. Two of my favorites I want to share with you that are my go tos right now are homemade pasta and homemade tortillas. Both are only four ingredients, both take less than 30 minutes. And honestly, they are better than anything I've ever store bought. But do you know what I love the most about this? My son loves making them. And it turns cooking from something I have to do into something we get to do together. So, a good friend of mine has turned me on to the thought of perception. Did you hear it? It turns it from something I have to do, that mindset, into something we get to do together. And while perception can be a mental mindset of something, there is an action involved with it. And it's choosing to avoid, in some areas, the simplicity of buying store bought pasta, let's say. Nothing wrong with it, but just humor me here. Buy that. I have to hurry home. I have to make it. I have to boil the water. I have to do all the things, right? Into Bradley, do you want to make pasta tonight? The excitement of getting to do that together, right? Teaching him something so important too, like cooking. And then enjoying a meal with so much satisfaction because we made it. We know exactly what's in it and it tastes better than anything we could have ever bought. So I'm changing my perception into something that we get to do together. And then there's and then there are other rhythms I've been working on, like saving bigger things for the weekends, making my bread, making my bagels, things that take more time but feel really grounding. And then during the week, keeping meals simple and realistic. Something else I've been learning a lot of, though, eating well doesn't always mean spending more than you can afford. Organic doesn't mean it has to be all or nothing. You're probably going to learn that one of my favorite things to say is it's about being intentional. Intention, 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 right? I used to think buying organic meant, oh my gosh, you have to spend so much more. It's double the cost of everything else, right? But then I realized how much I was throwing away, right? It was going bad before we could even finish it. So if I would have just not bought that item and instead bought the organic item, we would have been in the same boat, same amount of money, only now I'm getting some cleaner food. Not saying people who don't eat organic are eating clean food. I don't want that to be taken the wrong way or any sense of judgment. The only reason I got turned on to eating organic is actually because I was having a lot of neurological episodes. It was actually coming out as if I was having strokes. We found out that I have what's called hemiplegic migraines. They mock strokes. I mean, literally, stroke symptoms. And I had this incredible doctor who's since passed away, which is absolutely heartbreaking, but he opened everything for me. People often with migraines have what are called triggers. It could be the food we eat, smells, sometimes lights, sounds. The brain in general is just this magnificent thing that God created, right? But migraines, especially, that's just it's so unknown. Well, I had this doctor when we were going down my food sensitivities. He goes, I don't I don't think these foods are what are doing it. I believe it's all the stuff that's on the foods, the pesticides and different things like that. He goes, I bet you it's that. Now, I'm not saying like I'm some doctor or anything like that, but I will tell you, he said organic doesn't always mean perfectly this organic lifestyle of there's nothing on them, but it's the better option, he said, right? You're getting less of that option. So I did what he said and I started buying organic and being extra cautious about washing my foods. And man, he opened the door for me. My migraine symptoms drastically diminished. And I'll tell you, as soon as I start eating food again, vacation, and I start to have these episodes. So that's what my intentional side for eating organic comes. Now, everybody has their own reason. People have the reason that they don't, and that's fine. So please don't hear this as if you don't eat organic, that there's any sense of judgment. That's not it at all. It's just something I personally have been choosing to implement for my household. So, getting off that topic, being thoughtful about what I'm buying and cooking has been huge for me. Planning ahead. We are so lucky that we recently got a Trader Joe's. It's been almost a year now. And honestly, I use their online recipes tab every week. And what's so neat about that is it's simple ingredients, it's quick meals, but they're different. And it's been really fun to challenge myself to be like, okay, I'm picking one thing this week that I think would be gross. I'm like, ew, I don't want to eat that. And making it for me, making it for my family. And every meal I've made to this day, we have loved. So the thing about, yes, it's simple, but doesn't mean it's boring. It can be fun. That is what has been so helpful for me. So I want to share a little bit of the deeper message here, okay? At the end of the day, traditional living isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about being intentional with what matters most. For me, that means feeding my family well when I can and giving myself grace when I can't. Because my son isn't going to remember every single meal that was from scratch, but they will remember sitting around the table, being together, feeling cared for, learning that recipe, feeling like home was a place of peace. And that's something that is so important. We're not called to do everything. We're called to be faithful in what we've been given. Sometimes faithfulness looks like a homemade meal, and sometimes it looks like doing the best you can with the time and energy you have. So if you're a mom trying to cook from scratch while also working and keeping up with our busy life, you're not failing. You're doing something beyond meaningful. Even in the smallest of moments, even in the imperfect meals, give yourself grace. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm really grateful that we get to have these conversations together. And I'll see you back here next week on Raised Traditional. And one last quick reminder, if you haven't checked out SSS Tradco yet, now is the time. The first 50 legacy boxes are live right now, and once they're gone, that early edition is gone. Head to sstradco.com, lock in yours, and use code RAISEDTRADITIONAL for 10% off. Don't watch the movement, be a part of it.